Hello and welcome back to our 8x6 hardback album that we started a little while ago. So if you can remember, so far we've made this first page with its little flap and pocket. We've made the waterfall page that we made like this, and now we're going to go on to page 3. And if you remember, we're reversing it, so we're doing the same thing but with different papers at the back. So this is page 3, and it's a page that is tied with a ribbon fastener. It's got a pocket at the front here, and when you open it, there's another pocket there, but then it opens again with another flap there, and there are pockets there and there. So that's what we're going to make today. So let me just tie that up and let me move that out the way. So the first thing you need is your page base. Remember, we always make it on a base. We never make it straight into the book. So the page base is 8 inches by 6 inches. Okay, and then we're going to take 2 pieces of card. So this one is 4.5 by 8 inches, and we're going to score it. I'm just going to get my scoreboard at 1/2 inch. So we're going to score that at 1/2 inch, and that's going to be our hinge, and we'll burnish that in a moment. We're then going to take a second piece, and this piece again is 8 inches, but this time it's 4 inches. And again, we're going to score it at 1/2 inch. So let me just get rid of my scoreboard. So we've got one at 4.5 inches by 8, which we score at 1/2 inch to give us a flat 4 by 8. The second one starts off at 8 by 4. We score at 1/2 inch, giving us a flap which is 3.5 by 8. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to stick these on. So this one, the wider one, is going to go to the edge of the page like that. So I'm just going to burnish this, because again, the more you burnish, looking for my other burnishing tool, there it is. The more you can burnish, the better the lie will be. So let's give that a really good burnish, and then I'm going to pop a little bit of glue onto here. And I'm going to pop this right to the edge. So I'm going to place it roughly to the edge, and then I'm going to use my fingers so that I can see it's absolutely lined up with the edge. Give it a burnish while it's closed. Hold it so that it doesn't move. And then I'm going to open it up, remove any bits of glue. Glue has squirted out a little bit, but it's okay because we're going to cover it. Okay, so that's your first one. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to take a piece of decorative paper. I'm just going to get this up here. And that piece of decorative paper is going to be 7 3/4 by 5 3/4. So in its whole piece, it's 7 3/4 by 5 3/4. So it's 1/4 inch shorter than your base page, and it's 1/4 inch less in width. I couldn't think of the word for not as wide. Okay, so you're going to take the wider piece of this and you're going to stick it onto your page. So you're going to take the wider piece. Sorry, let me explain to you how I've cut it. So it's 4.5, start again, 7 3/4 by 5 3/4. I then cut a piece 3 1/4. Missed that bit out, didn't I? So I cut one piece at 3 1/4, so my other piece is 2 1/2. I'm going to stick my 3 1/4 piece to cover my hinge. So that's going to go on like that. So I'm just going to burnish that down. I'm then going to take my second hinged page, which started off at 4 by 8 and is now 3 1/2 by 8. And again, I'm going to give my crease a good burnish. Because again, it will lie flatter the more you burnish it. And I'm going to put my glue on here, but this time, although I'm putting the glue on, I'm lining edge to edge, and only then will I put the glue down. So I'm going to put the glue onto there, edge to edge, line it up, hold it in place, and then glue that down. And I've done that the wrong way round. Isn't that always the case? In that case, what I'm going to do, oh, that should have been the smaller piece. If I can get that off. Might be able to get it off. Trouble is, when you've burnished it down so thoroughly, it's harder to get it off. I'm going to try. Okay, whoops, don't want to take that edge off if I can help it. No, there we go. So just go along here very carefully. And these Teflon tools are really multi-purpose tools, and they're so good for so many things. So I'm just going to go round nice and neatly. And I think what I should have done, come on, we're nearly there. We are so nearly there, come on. You can do this. Just got a very stubborn little bit there. I'll get there in the end with it. So I'll pull this off. And it should now. It doesn't matter if it's pulled off a little bit because you're going to stick it all down again. Right, that looks a bit of a mess at the moment, but don't worry, it won't when we're finished. So I think what I'm going to do is do it the right way and stick this on first. So I'm going to put some glue on there, line that up with the edge there, and then glue it down. So you know that it's lined up with the edge of the page. Now it all makes more sense. Okay, and now this piece goes here. So we're going to cover up all that nasty mess we made. So this is the smaller piece. This is the 2.5 inch piece, and that's going to go there. Might just need to trim that slightly. Yeah, going to need to trim that very, very slightly. don't want to use my trimmer because I shall mess up my trimmer. So I've got my big scissors somewhere. Okay, and you may find with yours you may need to trim it just slightly. So I'm just going to take probably less than 1/8 of an inch off so that it will fit comfortably in that space there. So I'm going to say you may find you need to do that. Probably best not to put the glue on until you know. So now that goes over there, and we'll just run that down again, and then that should fold back, and this piece will now fit into there. So again, I'm going to put some glue. It is very messy on the back of this, but I'm sure it will be absolutely fine. I might try and take some of these bits off. Otherwise it's going to be a bit lumpy and bumpy, but it is going to have things covering it, so it's fine. I could have cut another piece, but I'm just going to do it all the way along like this. And then that is going to fit, and it's absolutely fine. That's going to fit there, like that. There's little bits of glue off. Okay. The thing about paper crafting is there's normally a way of getting it back. Okay, so the wider bit goes here, the narrower bit goes there. Okay, so that's the main part of the page built. So now we're going to make these pieces here. And for that, just clear the decks a little bit, I've got 2 pieces of patterned paper, and this one is 3 3/4 by 7 3/4. So the page, if you remember, was 8 by 4 when we'd taken the 1/2 inch and folded it under. So this is 7 3/4 by 3 3/4. And what I'm going to do, clear some space, get my trimmer, do you know, I wish I had a bigger space to work. Get my trimmer, and I'm going to take 1 inch from this side. So I'm going to take 1 inch from this side. It's just under 1 inch because I'm working on my little trimmer. So this then will stick on here, and this bit will be blank at the moment. So having taken 1 inch off here, I'm now going to stick that, lift it up because you want to be able to make sure you don't stick it onto the piece underneath. It seems to be having, it's a new glue bottle and it's coming out a little bit quicker than it should. And then I've cut some strips, and these strips are 8 by 1 1/4. So these will fit onto here. Now for this one, I want to reverse it. So I want my pocket to be a slightly different pattern. You don't have to, you can keep it the same, but I want to reverse mine. So I'm going to stick my strip onto here, like so. Centre it up, make sure it's centred. Again, a bit more glue than I want. And then put my finger where I don't want the glue because I'm making a pocket. Go round the edge and place that level with your corner like so. And then when you open it up, you're going to do the same thing on there. Okay, so we're going to take an inch off here. And we're going to decide, yeah, I'm going to do it that way. So I'm going to put my paper here. Like so. And then I'm going to take another one of my strips. So I've cut an inch off and my strip is 8 by 1 1/4. Glue my page down like so. And like so. Finger on the back on the piece you don't want to glue because you're making a pocket. And then that is going to go there like that, and you give that a good burnish. And now we've got this piece, which if you remember was 4 by 8, so it's now 3.5 by 8. So the strips of paper that we want to cut, here we go, are 7 3/4 by 3 3/4. And we're going to do exactly the same thing again. We're going to take an inch from one side. We're going to pop that onto there. And we're going to put our corner together, our pocket together. So that's going to go like that. And then the inch we've cut off is going to go on the next tab, still 8 inches by 1 1/4. So we're going to pop that onto there. Like so. Way too much glue coming out all over the place. It will dry clear. And I've got my glue rubber if I need to. Finger on where I don't want to glue. That's always a good habit to get into. Is just to make sure your finger is on that side that you don't want glued. So that one's going to go like that. And then on the other side, I've got one to match that one. So that one matches that one. This one will match this one. So again, I'm taking an inch off. Now, I've done them to match. Obviously, you don't have to. I just liked the idea of them matching. So we'll put that up the right way. And we'll stick that onto there. So you've got 7 3/4 by 3 and remind myself, by 3 1/4, and then you're taking an inch off in the same way as you did before. So everything is, yes, I want to stripe that way. Everything is 1/4 of an inch less than the piece underneath it. So 8 inches by 1 1/4 will give us our pocket. Finger where you don't want the glue to go. All the way round. And there is your other pocket. Okay, so then you've got your matching piece there and there. I've chosen to have a matching one there with the pockets alternating and a matching piece there with the pockets alternating. So now all we need to do is get some double-sided tape, which is in here. We're going to put some double-sided tape on the back at halfway. I'm eyeballing it. You, of course, can measure it. Oops. And I need some black ribbon, which I've got there. Take that off there. Make sure I've got plenty each side. It's always better to have some to cut off than have too little before you start. And then that's going to tie up like that. And as I say, we can now trim that to the size we want. And then that is going to go as our third page there. So put some glue on the back. And the nice thing is no one will notice the mistake we made at the beginning. So I'm going to stick that on. Make sure it's on. Then I'm going to open it up so that I can just give that a push and that a push. I've got a couple of tags that I'm going to put in there. This might be just a bit too big. I'll have to cut some more tags. And there, let's put it the right way up. And there is our third page. So just a little reminder, because we did get in a little bit of a muddle. The back page is 8 by 6. You cut a piece of patterned paper at 7 3/4 by 5 3/4, and then you take 2.5 inches off that. So you've got 2.5 and a 3 1/4. You then take 2 flaps. This one is 4.5 by 8, folded at 1/2 inch to make 4 by 8. This one starts at 4 by 8, folded at 1/2 inch to make 3.5 by 8. You then stick those in and put your papers in. Good idea, just to see if you do need to trim them a bit. You may well need to trim them as I did. And then you cut yourself 4 pieces of paper. You cut 2 at 3 3/4 by 7 3/4 and 2 at 3 1/4 by 7 3/4, and you can match them up or not as you choose. And then on each one you take 1 inch off and you mount that onto a piece of card at 8 inches by 1 1/4 to create 4 little pockets to put things in. I hope, despite the little error halfway through, just goes to show I'm human, that does make sense. Thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye.